March 9th, 1945. The capital of Japan, Tokyo. Evening. People are returning home after work. Children are playing in narrow streets. In wooden houses made of paper and wood, lamps are being lit. No one knows that in a few hours, this city will turn into hell. At night, from the 9th to the 10th of March, American B-29 bombers dropped thousands of incendiary bombs. The wind carried the flames. The fire turned into a firestorm. The temperature rose to 1,800 degrees. Rivers were boiling. Asphalt was melting. About 100,000 people died, more than from the atomic bomb in Hiroshima on the first day. 41 square kilometers of the city burned down. 1 million people were left without a roof over their heads. It seemed that Tokyo was destroyed forever. But 19 years later, this same city opened the Olympic Games. 19 years later, trains were running at 210 kilometers per hour. How was this possible? Let's figure it out. Before the war, Tokyo was a huge living city, more than 6 million residents, narrow streets, canals, thousands of small workshops, shadow factories for the war, houses made of wood and paper, an ideal target for fire. Since 1944, Americans had been bombing Japan, but General Curtis LeMay changed everything. He said, "Forget precision strikes. Fly at night, low, with incendiary bombs, napalm and phosphorus." On March 9th at 5:34 p.m., 334 B-29 aircraft took off from bases in Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. They flew low, only 1,500 to 2,700 meters, without heavy weapons to carry more bombs. At midnight, the first planes dropped markers. Then a rain of 1,665 tons of incendiary bombs poured down. A wind of 55 kilometers per hour spread the fire. The fires merged. Fire vortices sucked the air out. People ran to the Sumida River, but the water was boiling and the bridges were burning. Survivors recalled the sky became red like blood. The smell of burned flesh hung in the air. The bomber pilots wore oxygen masks so they would not vomit. By the morning of March 10th, 41 square kilometers of the city were in ashes. 267,000 buildings were destroyed. This was the most destructive bombing in the history of humanity. Morning of March 10th. Tokyo was a sea of ash. People were digging through the ruins. Many died from burns, suffocation, and hunger in the following days. On August 15th, Japan surrendered. Since September, General MacArthur governed the country. Tokyo was in ruins. People lived in shacks made of tin and wood. Black markets traded everything. Inflation was crazy. There was almost no food. In 1946, a plan was released. Wide streets, green zones, new districts. But there was no money. People wanted to return to their old places. The city grew chaotically. Narrow alleys remained, but electricity returned and trams started running. Then came the Korean War. from 1950 to 1953. The United States ordered weapons, uniforms, and machines from Japan. Factories came back to life. The Japanese economic miracle began. From 1955 to 1973, the economy grew by 10% per year. Toyota produced cheap and reliable cars. Sony made transistor radios. Honda produced motorcycles. Everything went to the world. Tokyo became the center of this boom. The climax was 1964. On October 1st, the Tokaido Shinkansen was launched, the world's first high-speed train, 210 kilometers per hour. Tokyo to Osaka in 4 hours instead of 6.5 hours. The world applauded. 9 days later came the Olympic Games from the 10th to the 24th of October. 93 countries participated. New stadiums were built, Yoyogi by Kenzo Tange. Haneda Airport was expanded. High-speed roads were built over rivers. The subway system grew. Japan showed that it had become a new, peaceful, technological country. The Olympics were like a giant time-lapse from the ashes of 1945 to neon lights and skyscrapers. Today, Tokyo is the largest urban agglomeration on the planet, 37 million people. The metro carries millions daily without crowds. Buildings shake during earthquakes, but remain standing. Parks serve as fire breaks. Less than 80 years ago, the city was burning. Today, it is one of the safest and most futuristic places on Earth. This is not a story about war. This is a story about how people, systems, and willpower can turn ashes into the future. If this story touched you, like and subscribe to Time Mosaic. Write in the comments which city or era should be analyzed next. Thank you for watching until the end. See you on the next time journey.